You're listening to Winnipeg's Classic 107. My name is Simon Rusnak. This weekend, Virtuosi Concerts presents Music for Home, featuring Naomi Woo at the piano. It is the latest in the In-Camera Sessions series, streaming online. To tell us more about the program, we've reached Naomi. Hello.
Hi, Simon. Nice to see you.
Oh, great to see you too. Well, home is a place that we've all been spending a lot of time this last year. Can we start off by talking about the idea of home and how it works its way into the program?
Well, that's exactly how my concept for this program started, spending lots and lots of time at home, but also sending concerts into people's homes. I was really thinking about what kind of music belongs at home. So one of the first places I started was thinking about music like Schubert. You know, the famous Schubertiads, people playing in living rooms. And that for me is music that I always associate with domestic spaces.
Yeah, and I mean, it really does work its way into the program, right? There is that music of Schubert. There's also some music of other composers, well-known names like Grieg and Ravel. And one other thing that struck me is that I noticed that there's a lot of composers from home, Canadian composers like Alexina Louis and Nathaniel Dett and Anne Southam, and then also this commission piece by Karen Sunebaka. Can you tell us a little bit more about her piece with that provocative title, "Our Inner Lives Were Entwined, Embroidered with the Same Pattern"?
Absolutely. So the concept spiraled out beyond just music that belongs in the living room to encompass many different concepts of home. I was thinking about my own relationship to my new home of Winnipeg, and one of the ways in which I have wanted to engage with my new relationship with this place and these people and this land is through relationships and also through learning about the land through relationships. So I came to meet Karen Sunebaka. We actually had a lot in common. We've both previously called Cambridge, England home. So that was an immediate bond and something immediately that we shared. But Karen Sunebaka is a Métis woman. And so learning about the land that I'm living on and learning about the homeland of the Métis Nation, I thought that including Karen in this program and asking her to write a piece for me would really help me think about the concept of home more expansively. The piece that she's written is, in fact, about her mother and her mother's close relationship with her sister. So that familial relationship also is something that I feel like is so deeply connected with the idea of home, our relationship with our families. And of course, I have not been able to see my family for quite some time. They live in BC, and normally I visit them fairly often, but I have not been to BC since before the pandemic started. And so seeing and reflecting Karen's close relationship with her family and her mother's close relationship with her sister in this piece feels like a way for me to feel closer to my family as well.
Well, yeah. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? What's it been like being away from first home, as you mentioned, a couple different homes for you between Cambridge and making your way down to Yale and now in Winnipeg? What's putting this whole thing together been like for you as an artist, but more as a person?
Well, one of the pieces that I chose first on this program was actually the piece by Grieg. The title of the piece is Homesickness or Longing for Home. And I think what's been interesting for many of us about staying in our own homes all the time, not being able to travel, is that that also can come with a homesickness. It can come with a longing, not being able to see the people who are closest to you. There's been a tremendous amount of grief and mourning, many lives lost and people not able to celebrate those lives in person in the way that we used to. So that was one of the reasons I chose this piece. But the other is that this is a piece I played as a child.
Hmm.
It's a piece I played in my family home when I was 9 or 10. I was asking my mom to see if she could remember, in fact, and it's one of the first pieces that I remember performing and really being moved by the music and really performing for an audience. One of those moments that transforms you as an artist at a young age and makes you think maybe this is something I could do forever. Maybe this is something I would like to do forever. And so the program is extremely nostalgic for me. And after that, many of the other pieces on the program also spiral out of this idea and have very deep, nostalgic, and personal connections for me as well.
I mean, there's got to be a comfort there, of course, a nostalgia. But something else that that's really struck my eye is the excitement of new pieces. I mean, there's this world premiere of Karen Sunebacke's piece, and not the only premiere on the program, also a Canadian premiere of a 2016 work by Luxembourgish composer Catherine Kantz, now based in London. As I mentioned, you spent time there. Have you two met before?
Catherine is a good friend.
I
And
figured. I figured.
And, that's the other thing that I'm someone who's moved around a lot. So, in many ways, my concept of home has been fluid for much of my life. But at the same time, home is not just about place. Home is not just about the house and about the buildings and about the city or the country. Home is also about our relationships and how we relate to each other, about making friends and meeting people and learning from them and sharing things with them. So there are a number of pieces on this program that are by my friends. Catherine is one of them. She is a close friend. I've not had the opportunity to perform this piece of hers before,
Hmm.
but we've worked together very closely on other projects. So I was delighted to be able to include this piece, not least because this piece is based on a book by Thomas Mann, describing Thomas Mann's journey across the Atlantic Ocean. It's the first time he undertook this journey. He undertook it in the 1930s at a time when it was quite exciting to journey across the Atlantic Ocean. As he was journeying across the Atlantic Ocean, he decided to mark the occasion by reading Don Quixote on the journey. And he wanted to time his reading so that he read it precisely over the 10 days that the trip would take. And then he wrote diary entries every day about both what was happening at sea, how the weather was, and what the ship was like, as well as what he was reading in the book. And so Catherine has also translated this into music. And in fact, one of the little tidbits in her score is that she looked up what the wind speeds were on each day of the journey and took those as tempo markings. So
Oh.
she's also traced Thomas Mann's journey in this wonderful way. And so because it traces this journey, which is a journey that members of my family have undertaken, many, many members of my mother's family, in fact, all of the members of my mother's family at some point came from Europe. And so this journey across the Atlantic Ocean is one that is part of my family story and part of my experience of this land as home.
What a cool program you've put together. Not only are you giving us the idea of home, but you're also allowing us to travel, which is something I think a lot of us have missed over the past year. I mean, I feel like this program is checking every box, Naomi. It's really, really, really cool. And one last thing that I do want to mention is, it always seems like you're programming something new, whether it's a new work composed in 2020, like Karen Sunebacke's piece, or maybe just a piece that's never received a premiere before. I'm thinking of that Marianne von Martinez you performed alongside your colleagues with the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra. Do you ever not perform premieres in your programs?
Well, sure I do. But
Yeah.
I think the wonderful thing about performance, this is the reason why I perform rather than saying, hey, go listen to my favorite recording of this piece. It's not because I think I can do it better than whoever else has already played it, but because performance is always new. That is why it's exciting. That is why Virtuosi is hosting in-camera sessions with new performances rather than just making videos of old things that are lying around, and or why we're watching them rather than just listening to our CD collection or our favorite Spotify playlist or putting on Classic 107, which I do every morning. But I also want to hear things that are new and that are live. And so for me, the experience of performance is always about that experience of liveness, of something that is new. It is new every single time, whether I am playing something that is a premiere or whether I am playing a Beethoven piano concerto.
Well, Naomi, thanks for doing what you do. And like I said, and I keep saying, it sounds like it's going to be a great show. Thanks so much for taking the time today.
Thank you for speaking with me, Simon. Always good to see you.